Good morning, everyone. And we just want to welcome you to Pillow Talk Lounge. We just pray that wherever you are, you're staying safe, you're staying warm, you're staying dry. Because I know where we're located, we had a bunch of rain and a bunch of snow. So we just pray that wherever you are, you're just having a blessed day and staying safe, And we just want to welcome you. I'm James Green.
And I'm Cynthia Green, and we are your hosts of Pillow Talk Lounge with Lounge with the Greens, and we are the founders of Marriage Built to Last. So welcome, everybody. Hey, how y'all doing this morning?
Good. And we know that we just, like you said, let's talk about a little bit about Valentine's Day. It may not be a national holiday and things, were closed like banks and post office, but it's a day to show love. It's a day of maybe not even romance, but just love, showing someone you love them, whether it's your family, whether it's your mate, whether it's a friend, just show them that you love them.
Right. And, I was telling James that, I saw several posts on social media of couples saying we don't celebrate Valentine's Day. It's too commercialized. I saw people saying that they did something other than celebrate Valentine's Day, like they had a date night. Well, that's all Valentine's is a date night. Right. One couple ordered some scratch off cards from Amazon, and it gave them something to do. And they went out and did it. Valentine's can be creative. It can be anything that you want it to be. We've done Valentine's at home where we went out and bought food. We set up a table in front of the fireplace. We sat there and had dinner. I mean, you don't have to celebrate Valentine's Day, but I wouldn't necessarily look at it as too commercialized. I mean, that's your opinion.
But that's why some people look at it like, why celebrate a day that's commercialized when I show my spouse or my mate that I love them all year round?
Every day. And that's a good thing. But as we always say, you should always be dating your spouse. So if you're not dating your spouse, Valentine is a good day to take that one extra step, to just go a little bit above and beyond and do something special.
And like you said, you could do different things. You can go out to dinner. You can go to a movie. You can go out to a concert. You can go to church. You can have it at home. There's nothing wrong with setting up the table at home like a candlelight dinner with just the two of you. And you necessarily don't have to cook it. You could go out and buy it and put it on nice plates. It doesn't matter. It's just the fact that you recognize your spouse, your mate, your lover, even your friend, your family. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It's just a matter of showing them how you appreciate them.
Right. And again, I was also telling James that, in the Bible, before Jesus came to the earth and after he came to the earth, God celebrated major milestones in life. If something great happened, he told them to put stones in that place to remember this day or remember this moment. If something bad happened, he told them to put something there so that you will always remember that. And some of those things that he told them to remember became annual traditions. They did it every year. They had feasts, they had celebrations, they had all kinds of things to commemorate or celebrate and recognize certain things in life. So Valentine's Day is no different than your birthday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. New Year's doesn't have to be celebrated, but we do it anyway.
That's right. And that is so good because, like you said, when Jesus did that, celebrate. And we tell couples, there's nothing wrong with celebrating. There's nothing wrong with celebrating milestones. You celebrate your anniversary. A lot of people get married on Valentine's Day.
Yep.
It's a matter of celebrating each other, celebrating that love. And what better way than to show that person than to celebrate the love you have for them, whether you got married on that day. Just like Cynthia said, it could be a regular date night, and we always say, love on your spouse, love on your mate, show them that you love them, and you don't have to pick, like we said, Valentine's Day to necessarily do it, but it becomes habit, it becomes routine. If Jesus could celebrate stuff like that, there's nothing wrong with us celebrating things like that also.
And again, you don't have to celebrate Valentine's Day. We're not saying that.
Right.
Do what's best for you. but just also think about it as an opportunity to go that one extra step above. Let's just be honest. We coach couples all the time, and one of the wives' complaints is that he never does anything romantic. He never plans a date night. I always got to plan everything. I have to do everything. Well, maybe that's the day that the men step up and do something special. Same thing with the women. Men be like, she never wears sexy lingerie anymore. You know, she just come to bed in her tore up t-shirt. You know, maybe that's your day. You do something special. It doesn't matter. You know, you can make any day your Valentine's Day. Okay. All right. So first of all, let's do some house cleaning. Hit that button, y'all. Hit the share button, whether you're watching live, whether you're watching a replay. Hit the share button and share this out to your friends, because, you know, we're talking about something today that is so simple. And you're like, I know that, but sometimes we just don't think about it. Sometimes we need to go back and talk about the things that made our marriage great in the beginning, made us feel all these warm, fuzzy feelings. Sometimes we just need to take time to do that. So let's just talk about the 12 habits of couples who are madly in love. The 12 surprising habits, they say, that couples who are madly in love usually do or portray.
Right. Or I was going to say, just not, even if you're not madly in love, it'll help you keep that romance, keep that positivity, keep that love going.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And y'all, these are not big, surprising things to us. They are things that really come naturally. So let's just go right to it. So last week we gave
3. Right. You go ahead, babe.
And they were 3. About prioritizing each other's happiness. Like, you got to think about your spouse and not just yourself in the relationship.
And I think I said, just make sure your spouse is a priority.
That's right. And then have fun together. Valentine's Day is a perfect day to go out and have fun and do something different together. And then the last one was like, don't sweat the small stuff. Like we talked about, don't let small grudges fester and
grow into big things. Something small grows into something big because you're letting that grudge fester. You're letting it build up, which means everything starts to bother you and it becomes a big thing.
Which reminds me, I wanted to unpack just a little bit further what we talked about last week, about the holding the grudges. So I shared how James and we were in the car. We went to get something to eat for dinner. And when we were heading back home, I was like, oh, babe, swing by the library so I can pick up my book. And he was like, no, I don't feel like stopping. Let's just go home. That means I got to go up and do a U-turn and go and all this stuff. And so I had an attitude thinking, it's no big deal. You can just stop by the library. And his thing was, I'm ready to go home. We got our food. It's going to get cold. And so who was right? Nobody was really right. I could have just been considerate and say, you know what? He's driving. He's hungry. We got our food. It's going to get cold. Let's just go home. But no, I'm in my head thinking it's only going to take me 2 minutes to run in there and grab the book because it's already on hold. It's sitting right there at the front of the library. I'm thinking about my selfish reasons. He might be thinking about his selfish reasons. But you know what? I got an attitude. Okay. He didn't get an attitude. I had an attitude like the rest of that evening. And I tried not to talk to him and laugh and be sociable with him. But, you know, it's hard with us because we don't hold grudges like that. But anyway, the next day we did this show and we talked about it. And on the show, I revealed that the library was actually closed. So had James turned around, went to the library, it would have been closed. And boy, would he have been mad.
Food would have been cold. The library was closed. I had to go out my way. Yes.
And I would have ate crow.
And the key thing was that I said, isn't it closed? And she didn't even look. She said, no, it closes at 7. And now it's about 5:15, 5:30. It closed at 5. And she was telling me, no, it closes at 7. But she never told me she looked it up.
The next later, after we got home, later.
And found out that it really was closed.
Right. But when we talked about it, when we were on the show last week, James had already decided that he was going to take me to the library that day. So, you know, I could have just said, he could have said at the time, I'll take you tomorrow. We can just go tomorrow. right?
I said that. I thought I said that.
I don't know if you did, but I probably still would have had an attitude because I wanted to read my book that night. I felt like I wanted to sit on the couch and relax. So I had in my head what I thought was right. He had in his head what he thought was right, but who was really right? It didn't matter, you guys. In marriage, in life, we are a team. We're in this to win together.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to sit down and talk about and compromise and get an understanding and give more information on what we really thinking and why we're saying what we're saying, and not catching an attitude and staying in that place. So not holding grudges is super, super important, because once we got on here and talked about it on Saturday, all kinds of things came out and we just moved forward. All right. So today we're going to do our next 3 of the 12 surprising habits of couples who are madly in love, or things that will help you to get back in love or maintain your love. So number 4 is they maintain physical affection. Right. Now, y'all, I have to talk about this a little bit because every time we do the 5 love languages, my husband's main love language is physical touch. Right. And so honestly, I feel he don't give me the physical touch that I want. His idea of physical touch is grabbing my booty, grabbing my boobs, filling me up when we're going up the elevator.
Not just that. There's times when we just hold hands. Come on, give him everything.
I was going to get to that, but my physical touch that I love is I love hugs. Like, I need to be hugged. I need to be, enveloped in your arms. And I tell them that all the time, but I don't always get it. So why is physical touch so important? Because it's a way to just feel connected to your spouse. It's a way, when you touching, you're connecting. When you're touching any part of their body, you are connecting in some form or fashion. So physical affection does not mean that you got to do something big. It's just those everyday moments.
And I could say, for me, example is if you're riding in a car, I could just reach over and grab her hand. That's nothing big, but it always puts a smile on her face. And that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the big things. We're talking about the small things, those little everyday moments that you do. Just like if you're out somewhere and you cross the street and you hold her hand while crossing the street. Oh my God. It's those type of things. See,
I feel like a little girl and I'm always smiling because it's like he's so protective, right?
And it's those type of things that keeps you connected.
It is.
That makes sure you have that bond.
Right, it is. And so, so physical affection and touch is a big thing. Right. And let's just be straight up about it. Those are the things that makes a woman feel connected to you, so it can be a good precursor leading up to that night for her to feel intimate towards you. But if you're never touching your spouse during the day, you're never showing them any type of affection, they're not going to be feeling that when it comes time when you roll over in bed.
And trust me, couples that stay together long term, they understand that physical touch. Just like you can get in the bed. We've talked to couples where they get in the bed and one of the parties in a relationship always have to put their feet on the other. It's just that touch. Even if it's your feet touching, it's just that touch that keeps you connected, keeps you drawn toward, to each other.
Right. And so leading right into that is making time for intimacy. I mean, honestly, in long-term relationships, intimacy doesn't go away. It doesn't fade. It evolves. Right. It keeps growing. It changes. It goes into different phases. Couples who stay madly in love, they prioritize intimacy. And like we always say, intimacy is not just physical. It's emotional intimacy too. Right. They make time for each other. Right. Even though we are so busy, you guys, everybody is busy because we either got a job or a career or a business, or we're involved in community things, politics, just so much stuff.
And people and couples understand that. And it's not just intimacy leading to sex. Let's just get that out of the way. Intimacy can mean sitting on a couch together, holding each other, having your arm around your mate or your spouse. It not necessarily means that, okay, let's get intimate, let's go into the bedroom. No, it's a lot of other things than just that.
Right. But it's also about deep conversations too, right? So the emotional part of it is and honestly, when we coach couples, we hear this from the women also. Mostly, they don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, they don't feel understood, they don't feel like their spouse takes the time to listen to them. And so that is emotional intimacy. You can't connect with somebody physically if you don't feel like they are connecting to you mentally, like they're just not paying you any attention, don't care about what you think, don't care about how you feel. All they care about is what they're getting, and most of the time that's just getting it under the covers. But you gotta get that for women, what's between here, the ears, and the head, the mental part, is what leads them to the physical intimate part.
And we tell couples that you need to carve out time for that. Carve out time to talk. Carve out time to be intimate. Because, we listen to couples, and there's times when they say, he doesn't make time for me, or he takes me for granted, or he doesn't show me that love. And how to do that? Maybe, because we always say, we know life gets busy. With work, maybe the kids, maybe school, then you got to clean the house. A lot of things makes your life busy. So sometimes you have to carve out that time just to let you know, I know we have busy lives, but we need to make time for each other.
That's so true.
We need to carve out that time to show each other the love.
And I look at James and our relationship, we don't necessarily have to carve out that time because it's just become a habit with us. We spend most of our time together. So we're always talking about something.
But couples that don't spend all that time together because they got busy lives, they're the ones that need to carve out time.
Absolutely.
When are we not busy? When can you make time for me? Because how many times we hear couples say, he doesn't make time for me. We even hear him say he can make time to go play golf, or he can make time to go out with his friends, but he doesn't make time for me. That's what we're talking about. Make time for your mate. Make time for your spouse. Show them.
Especially if you got a busy life. Put it on the calendar, y'all.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. Put it on the calendar. Pencil your spouse in. Pencil your date time in, or your special time in, your talk time in. Know when there's that open space that you can sit down and have some intimate conversations.
And that's why we always talk about date night, how it's so important. Because date night, you put it on the calendar, you're making sure you carve out that time so you can spend together. If you got kids, this day we're getting a babysitter so we can have time together, time for each other.
If you got small kids, that's really important, honestly. And then, like James always says, it shows that your spouse is a priority.
Which we talked about last week. So see how it all goes together? Last week we talked priority. This time we talk about carving out time for each other. Date night does all of that. It brings back that love, that romantic intimacy, which we just said. It brings back that intimacy that the two of you are together.
So true. It all ties together.
Yes.
It all ties together. So number 6 for today, our final one, is they never stop showing appreciation. So if you are spending time together, and if you are busy and you're going to spend that time together, but in between and you can't really get that time together, show each other some love and appreciation. Now what that means is just being grateful for the things that they do for you. I mean, just simple things like I cook. I don't mind cooking. I like cooking for my family, and I like home cooked meals. And so, when my families, say, "Oh, that was so good," or "Baby, thank you," or whatever, him and our daughter will say,
"Made with love."
Yeah, my daughter always say, "Mom, I can tell that was made with love," right? It's a showing appreciation for the fact that I took the time to cook for them. When James takes out the trash, and I'd be like, "Oh, babe, thank you for taking out that trash," because it was starting to. But it's just really just recognizing things that they do. That stuff is so important. We think it's little, we think it don't matter, but a heartfelt thank you can go a long way, just like an unexpected compliment. I've had a friend tell me one time, "Girl, I can't believe my husband told me the other day that he liked my hair." He never tells me that. Like, what? But I mean, that's a small thing, but if you're not used to your spouse giving you compliments and they give you one unexpectedly, it'll just put a smile on your face. It puts a pep in your step. It gives you that boost of confidence. It touches your heart. It just makes a difference when you show your spouse a little bit of appreciation.
I like it because it shows that they're valued. It shows you value what they're doing or what they did for you. There's nothing wrong with, like Cindy said, saying thank you. Because we talk to couples and they say, he takes me for granted.
Yeah.
And when you look at that, like you take your spouse for granted, that means you just expect them to do it and you don't say thank you. Even though they may not mind doing it, you don't show them that you appreciate what they're doing.
Right.
And it says like, well, he takes me for granted. He never says thank you or I appreciate this or I like what you did or none of that. And it looks like you're taking them for granted because you don't say those things. When you say those things, it shows that you're not taking them for granted and you do value what they're doing, what they're saying, or what they may have done for you.
Right.
And that goes a long way in a relationship. It shows that you appreciate what they're doing. So never, never stop showing appreciation for what your mate is doing for you.
So the 3 we talked about today was to never stop showing appreciation for one another, to make time for intimacy, and then the other one was to maintain physical affection.
That's right.
All right. So next week we're going to come back with the next 3, which will be number 7, 8, and 9. Right. And then we'll just have one more week of the final 3. But you guys, we want to know, what do you do to stay madly in love in your relationship? Because honestly, we talk to a lot of couples who really love their spouse, who really have a great marriage. We went to a marriage event at church last night, and I was really proud of our friends, Art and Mona Lisa, and they talked about how back in, I don't know, it was like 26 years ago when they had a marriage meeting with someone and who gave them some real tips about marriage and love and relationship that they never lost. It became the foundation for their marriage, and they've had a great marriage for 20 something years. You guys, you can have an amazing marriage. That's just my biggest message to couples. You can have an amazing marriage. You just got to put the effort in. You just got to really want it in your heart. And you can't look at what your spouse is or isn't doing and only have in your head what you think is right. Stand on the word of God. That's your best bet. So you guys, we want to thank you for joining us today. We have several things coming up. We want to remind you guys that the last week of September is always September is always the month that we have our annual conference. This year is the last weekend in September. We'll start posting about it early so that you can get your tickets early. You can plan for it, because normally we'll wait to 2-3 months before the conference and start advertising. We're doing it early this year so you guys can be ready. And then at the same time, check out our couples club. We have a couples club that couples tell us that it's amazing. It's one of the best resources they have for marriage. If you want to know more, just go over to our website and look up inloveandlovingit.com, In Love and Loving It Academy on our website, or reach out to us and ask us, how do we join the club? What's the club all about? We're going to have some interest calls soon so you can learn more about it. But we just have a lot of things for couples to do. I don't believe in a one and done. A lot of the marketers out here believe in having just one program to get their people into, but people need different things. So whatever you need, whether it's one-on-one coaching,
because we always say
coaching,
couples are different.
That's right.
And every couple needs something different.
Right. We all have different
just like
needs.
There's always a different way of learning. There's always a different way to make couples love each other and be happier. So we want to give you all of those options, to make you grow together. Because what I always say, if you're not growing together, then what are you doing? You're growing apart. And we always want you to grow together. We always want you to appreciate one another, to stay in love, and to move forward, to have a vision. That's why we do all the things that we do. So you know where you're headed and you know where you're going.
So y'all, we got snow on the way again. Okay, I love to see the snow come down.
Go ahead and say it.
I love the white cover ground, but Lord knows I'm about tired of snow for this winter. Let's just get me some spring weather, some summer weather, and let's get moving forward. forward with this weather, y'all. But anyway, I'm kind of looking forward to the snow, but I hope it goes away quickly like it did this time.
Right.
Once it comes, it doesn't need to stay. Just give me those moments of what I consider peace and just the world being enveloped with God's love and tranquility and pureness of the whiteness of the snow. So thank you guys for joining us today. And remember, if you build it, it will last. God bless you guys.
And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Pillow talk, pillow talk, pillow talk.